So here we are at the Behind the Grow. My name is Eric Coulombe with Garden Culture Magazine. Here with Dave. Want to pronounce your last name for me just so I don't butcher it?
Lacovelli.
Lacovelli. It's a good Italian name. Dave is a sales manager with Method 7. Would that be a proper, the man
Yeah, that'd
behind
be
the
a
brand? I
proper.
mean,
That'd be a great title.
yeah, I know there's also yourself and James Cox, who's the inventor and the guy who started the company, but you've been
Yeah,
very front the last couple of years at the shows and helping out while James is out doing his thing. And we'll talk a
yeah,
little bit about that after.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm super happy to have you here to talk about Method Sevens. I think anyone who knows me or has seen any of my feeds ever knows that I am a huge Method 7 supporter ever since you gave me this exact pair of glasses 10
yes,
years ago or so. And so they were my HPS shades that I wore in the grow room. And then I learned a trick real quick whenever, and anyone who grows knows, if you walk in there and take a picture with one of this with HPSs,
yeah,
you have a Halloween looking orange, horrible picture. And if you put
exactly.
your Method 7s in front of the lens, it looks just like it's supposed to look. And that was a bit of a
Yeah,
revelation where I'd be like, oh, well, look at that. So yeah, is there anything I missed? I mean, for that's what you're doing at Method 7, right? You're
yeah, yeah. I mean, you're spot on. Obviously HPS. The invention of the HPS lens is what put us on the map. We were the first to do it. It was really incredibly difficult to work under those yellow orange lights. It was insanely disorienting. Obviously, HPS is really bright, and I wasn't with the company when that lens was first invented. I actually owned a hydro store in Seattle. The original founder, a gentleman named Jeff, who unfortunately passed away way too young, he was part of that early brigade with James and Jeff, and he came into my shop, tossed me a pair of literally the ones you just showed everybody, and said, basically call me, you know, and I was growing in NorCal as well at the time. I took them down to the grow, I put them on, and it was that wow, holy shit moment that a lot of people have had when you first put them on under the HPS lights. And it was pretty profound. All of a sudden now you can see exactly what's going on with your plants. Obviously, the lights aren't as harsh to work under as well. And I sold them at my shop for a few years, sold the shop to GrowGen. Thank you for GrowGen, a lot of love for them. And then ended up coming on board here and have been here since 2018, actually. So I'm pushing what that's 8-9 years now.
yeah.
And we've done a lot of innovation. Obviously, HPS isn't as dominant as it used to be, but LED is, and it's been really fun to watch that technology kind of go from basically hatred, right? Back in what, probably 2013, 14, when those things started coming out and people, they were doing weird things like bleaching plants and
We still do.
stretching plants. They still do bleach plants, but it was more the norm then, and the
Yeah.
technology was just not there. But then, credit to the LED manufacturers for holding on and putting the time and money into the R&D. And now it's pretty impressive, to go into these rooms and see what these LEDs are doing and to see how extremely bright they are. It's almost comical when we go in now to these rooms, how bright it is.
I had been running, it was sand lights, and they were fantastic lights when I got in there from Austria. They had sent me some, but it's got to be about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And I hadn't changed them. And I mean, they were degrading. There's absolutely no doubt they were really degrading. But I didn't notice. I
Yeah.
did notice my gardens weren't as good over the years, but I just figured, I'm not selling it. It's just medical. It's home
Yeah, of
use.
course.
It
Keep
was
it going.
awesome. It still was good, but
Right.
it wasn't the same anyway. And then Jair at DLI, I
Yep.
told them the story, and I was doing this contest, this grow contest in Canada called the Great Canadian Grow Off.
Okay.
And, anyway, he very, very kindly set me up with two of their Zenith lights.
Yeah.
And I had an absolute holy shit moment when I turned it on. It was the same thing back
Right.
in the day. If you let your HPS go a long time and you went and got yourself a brand new Hortilux and you're all
Right. Yep.
excited, you screwed in that 1,000 watt and bang, when you turn it on, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
God, oh, I
You do.
forgot.
You
But these
forgot.
are even, I was even more than that. So
Oh yeah, these LEDs are wild.
yeah, wanted to talk about was that I think one of the reason that James and Jeff originally came up with the lens
Sure.
wasn't just to see the garden better. In fact, it may have not even that had. I think it's a side trade off to eye protection.
Yeah.
And I remember you guys in the beginning showing me some documentation, and then of course, you know, I had the magazine going already, and to write about and talk about the dangers of HPS,
Yeah.
and then the I won't say disease, but the what it does to your eyes has a name. I can't remember. I looked it up earlier. I forgot already.
Well, it
But
does cataracts. I mean, there's a long list of stuff it can
gross.
do to the
Yeah,
eyes. Cataracts are essentially blisters on your eyeballs.
yeah,
A guitarist to say, you decide you want to play guitar, they got to go through the blister phase on the fingers. That's part of the process. Yeah, I mean, going through the blister phase on the eyeballs for a grower is not fun. It's not the phase you want to go through ever. And we've dealt with people that have gone through that, and they'll send me literally pictures from the eye doctor, and it's just gnarly, some of the stuff.
yes.
It's so we don't use that stuff in our marketing. We arguably should a little more, like but the scare tactic, but it's out there, it's real, and you're spot on that the protection is paramount, especially with LEDs now. I mean, it's crazy
Well,
the stuff that's coming out. I mean, just to backtrack a little on the company history and the HPS, like, so you're spot on. It was about protecting Jeff, they're one of the original founders. He was a high photographer at High Times magazine.
okay.
So his original kind of quest was like, can I get a good shot of an HPS grow room for High Times magazine? And that kind of set him out on his journey.
Okay.
He had knowledge of kind of glass blowing, and the glass blowing glasses with neodymium, praseodymium, and some of these rare earth minerals could help kind of filter that flame. And he kind of brought that idea to the HPS lens technology, and he developed it with a scientist over in Germany, where they melted down these rare earth minerals into this molten glass, and as the HPS light passed through, it stripped away the reds, yellows, oranges, and it kind of balanced the other colors. And all of a sudden, that's what gave you that, like, notch filtering, we call it. That we're filtering out, we're notch filtering down certain spikes in the spectrum to be able to allow the user to see the other parts of the spectrum perfectly. And that same technology is in our what we call our FX lens. FX2 is the most current iteration of it. Same like principal technology. We look for the spikes in those LED spectrums. That's what's causing those after images, the spots, and we pull those down, and it makes an incredibly comfortable experience. That's why our lenses don't have to be super dark. Some people say these aren't even that dark.
Right.
It's like, well, they don't have to be super dark if you're pulling down the parts that are annoying. We can actually let the good light come crashing through, and now you have a really nice experience. So that's been the secret sauce to our LED lens, and it's been pretty cool to see. That's what some people say, oh, I wear my regular sunglasses. It's like, well, those might be very dark, and kind of just throw a wet blanket on the whole color
Well,
spectrum.
it's funny. One of the glasses I ended up liking the most
Yep.
when I first came in was Yoshi gave them to me,
Yeah.
and they were the operators. Yeah,
Yep. Yep. The wraps,
Gavita.
the Gavita. Yep.
But
Yep.
they're I don't know. We'll see how they're a bit purple as opposed to blue.
Sure.
And I didn't know why they were, and at first I thought, oh, they're not as good. I ended up loving these lenses.
Sure.
I don't know what they force. I wear them on that's my
Yeah.
joke. Is both my blue and purple lens. If it's cloudy outside but
Yep.
bright, and you wear the blue ones, well, a little brain fuck it makes you think this is blue sky outside. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's it's almost a therapy type pair, we say sometimes, if you want to wear them outside. Like, it'll
I
take your mood and spin it around to a bright blue sunny day. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
for all those people that have HPS glasses or want a positive spin, rock our HPS glasses outside. It's a nice, comfortable blue, and
It,
it's a beautiful experience as well, for
Maybe
sure.
not so much on the brightest, sunniest days,
Sure.
although it still takes the edge off the light, but
Yeah.
it's very bright. Whereas here, I'm gonna kind of show my favorite ones here because I got a couple pairs in front of me, Dave. So these are the ones I thought I lost,
Yeah.
which when I look on your website, I go, what are these? Because I wrote them down, the names. I have the Resistance and Resistance 2 and the Citadels and the Agent 939s and the Evolutions, but Max.
Yep, the Max Genetics. So we are the first company to put a cannabis seed shell pattern on a pair of sunglasses in the world. Proud of that one. You can look it up in Guinness. And yeah, it was a great pair. One of the things we love doing here is the limited editions. That was a limited edition. Yep, is just because you
Can't
kind of
really
panel down, you'll see the seed shell pattern, the
try to.
tiger
Oh, yeah,
striping. There she is. Yep, you
yeah.
got the speckles with the tiger striping, the proper mature seed color. Um, yeah, so that was pretty fun. Shout out to Candid Kush. We worked with him as a photographer. For those of you familiar with him, he did some incredible photography on the pouch. He
I
worked
don't
with
have
us.
the I'm like, you
Uh,
guys do these awesome pouches, and
yeah,
I always have. And I really did search for the pouch from these because it's all the seeds on the pouch. It's somewhere. I don't know where it is.
yeah, it's a dope pouch. It's a good pouch. So look for potentially that seed shell pattern on an upcoming limited edition. That was a popular one. We love doing limited editions. We talk to people all the time that are like, "Oh, bring back this or that," and part of the magic limited editions is not bringing them back. So we're kind of sticklers about it. You get it while you get it, or it's gone.
Yeah, like my
Speaking of that, I mean, I'm rocking today right now. We just did an awesome collab with Canna Nutrients. For those of you familiar with Canna, and that's what That's what I'm rocking today. Is the Canna?
I'm
It's in the signature Canna green. We did a
still
pretty
working on them.
we did a pretty sweet sea glass matte finish, so you can actually see through, semi-transparent. Their green color is awesome. Really great group of people. Really quality, badass pouch here with their Canna Gorilla. We just dropped those on the site, literally, basically today. Very limited run. But if you're a Canna customer and you're in Canna USA, Canada, or Australia, talk to your Canna people. They might be able to hook you up as well.
And Canada's number one market, the UK. If you happen to be in the UK and watching this too, you can still bug your
Boom.
UK, rep or
Bug them. Bug them.
call Kurt or one of those guys. I'm sure maybe I'm not sure of anything. They probably can get them, but you never know.
Yeah. You
But
never know. You never know. So yeah,
yeah, and the
appreciate you.
other collab ones that I love so much are my growing exposed,
Hell
uh,
yeah.
which are the
Hell yeah.
evolutions. I had the compound genetics, so I had the compound genetics evolution
Yep.
purple, and
Yep.
then my daughter's boyfriend sat on them and broke them. Although I forgave him instantly, he offered to buy me a new pair. I'm like, okay, you're
Good for
good.
him.
Can't
Nice
really
guy.
see. Yes,
Yeah.
so they're green, translucent with a tortoise shell
Yep. It's a
green.
very dark green,
These are
tortoise shell pattern, translucent, growing exposed. Mad love. Huge shout out to the growing exposed
yeah,
crew.
yeah,
They
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 love
did.
you. They've been a fan, and they've been Green Planet resells. It has been a seller of your glasses in Canada for about a decade. I know they're huge fans, as are the other resellers of your glasses in Canada. Biofloral.
Biofloral. Nice.
So,
Yep.
one of the reasons why I wanted to bring on these, I'll show all these glasses.
Mm,
Uh, these are not the best pair for me, but they are lovely. It's for anyone who has a company who's listening. Is one of the best giveaways and investments you can make. I think are to a pair of glasses like these.
sure.
There's
I appreciate
no one will ever throw these away ever. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's a solid. Well, and we say, it's the first thing the growers see when they start their shift, and it's the last thing they see when they take it off, and it's we are so thankful for that, and we really try hard to give a quality, tool to do the job. I mean, that's essentially what they are. Obviously, talking about these limited editions, we've taken it a little bit extreme, whether it's with the company or with a fun theme. And yeah, we encourage people to wear them outside on the day to day. Our FX lens is gorgeous underneath the sun. Since it's so overtuned for these LEDs, it does a great job outside. It's totally comfortable. And yeah, when you're talking seed shell genetic patterns, some people might say it's a little too stylish for the grow room. So rock it out on the street,
Wow,
same thing. So that's kind of what we're,
crazy.
as a company, we welcome that, because we truly give a shit. We're not your typical Ray-Ban or Oakley that's like, we don't care who our customers. We really appreciate our crew, especially talking about Canada here. Mad love to all of our, Canada family and, friends and, growers that are using this, because between Green Planet, Biofloral, Canada, Garden Culture, everybody, it's so much love for it. And, we recognize that, we wouldn't be here without that whole crew. So thank you.
I mean,
Yep.
you guys make a good product, so it's super easy to to tell people. I mean, like I said, it's all I wear for 10 years. I have not worn a single other pair of sunglasses. I'll get into the two special pairs over here in a second.
Okay, yep.
I have a couple other ones. Well, again, because
Oh,
these are cool too, which is the Agent 939s, which aren't on your site anymore. Are these CMH glasses, or what were these for?
LED. So that was our original FX LED lens. That was our original FX LED pair, right, for full spec. First pair in the world that specifically engineered for full spectrum LEDs of any company ever. Again, another first for Method 7. Check it out in Guinness, I think the 2020 edition. But and it was a great lens. So we took that technology, right? I already explained how we notch filter down, but that's got your infrared coating, which reduces infrared heat from hitting your eye. It's got an anti-reflective coating on the backside, so if light hits it, it
Oh,
absorbs it, doesn't bounce in your eye, which causes annoyance. It can cause damage, and it was a beautiful lens. So when we evolved it into the FX2, we took that same base technology and we added resin. Well, we tweaked it a little, the formulation, because there's more red chips that have been added into these LEDs over the last few years. So it mitigates that 660 red a little bit and causes a nice color balance. We also tuned it to go a little outside the PAR range as far as UV protection. You hear UV 400 a lot. Well, that starts at 400, right? So on the nanometer spectrum. So we actually go a little bit outside that, below into the 380s, which is UVA. So you're covered there. And it even sneaks a little above 700. So we get outside the PAR range because some of these new LEDs, they go beyond the PAR range. So we really had fun kind of evolving that lens into what I'm rocking right now, the FX2. Again, FX2, if you can catch that on there. And then we added, of course, our resin repel coating, which is our signature coating. You're not going to find that certainly on any other knockoff grow glasses in the world. And it's probably forms of it are going to be found on some of the nicest lenses in the world. And really what it is it's a hydrophobic, oleophobic coating, and basically industrial grade, and we have it on all sides of the lenses. And what that does is it reduces or mitigates oils, stops water, and it's got incredible anti-fogging properties. So it basically makes the lens insanely easy to clean. It keeps the resin from sticking. If you happen to get water on your glasses in the grow room, it's going to just wipe right off. And then again, as we all know, it can get foggy in the grow room, right? You got these facilities, a guy or girl's walking from hot room into cold hallway, into hot room, into cold hallway. And rather than take them off and deal with fog in and out, you're covered. So that
nice.
was our upgrade on the 2 lens. And it
And
took some time to develop, but we're happy. We're proud of it.
so look at all here. I don't know what would be F2, or was there F1? I don't
So
even.
yeah, so the pink purple that you just put on with the
Right.
agent lens, so that's kind of the easy way to tell that that's going to be your original FX. And if you can see kind of the lens color on these glasses, a little tough to pick up, but it's a petrol mirror color.
Yeah, they're
It's
like
like
greenish almost.
it's a green blue, yeah, almost like a petrol oil spill, right? The
That's
blue.
what these ones have.
Exactly. Yep. It's hard to pick up when you're in person holding it. It's as clear as day. It's hard to pick up on a camera, but essentially it's a petrol
Oh,
oil spill. It's the blue, green, gold color. When you look at, yep, exactly. When you look at right there, yep. When you look at kind of an oil spill in the sun out in the parking lot or something, that's a pretty sweet color. Well, that's essentially we're mimicking that color.
don't have.
That one is not that. That's
No,
going to be our sun lens.
that's yeah, original resistance
Yep.
too. Well, one of the again, I'll just bring up two of the ones that I think are when I first got them. I mean, again, I'm not really cool enough for this, but
Yeah.
these are
Oh
some
yeah.
these are some
Oh,
badass glasses. And even
yep.
when you're driving or you're outside and you first put them on, you really do get, because I'm not a fancy guy
Sure.
historically. I don't
Yeah.
own these are all really good glasses. I don't before
Thank
that I don't put this in the same category as Oakleys or Smiths or Ray-Bans, or you know what I mean?
you.
And when you first put these on and they're nice and clean and it's just it is an experience, you know?
Yeah, 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 and those are our pilot glasses. We have a whole pilot division. So that's a very strong vertical for our company. We work with, mostly stunt pilots, private pilots, kind of the fun pilots out there. Also we have a fighter jets, fighter team we work with. We do all the air shows. So if you're into the pilot aviation world, go to any air show, net major air show, you'll probably see our crew there. Yeah, it's a beautiful pair. They're Japanese frames, Japanese titanium frames. A similar lens technology to our grow glasses. To be perfectly honest, we have glass lenses, polycarbonate in there too, and we have a lot of fun with our pilot line. And it's a great crew to work with as well.
Yeah. Well, again, if you anyone go and check out method7.com at the website, all the glasses are listed. When you go to the aviator section, there's quite a few nice frames. As I was looking through earlier, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I like those. You know,
There's yeah,
they're a little bit more expensive, but like you're saying, the Japanese titanium, the glass. So these are really are high end glasses. And just when I thought I experienced method
oh,
7, and
yeah,
I've had all these. I've had more. I'm almost ashamed to say how many pairs I've lost or broken over the years, but it happens, right?
of course.
Trade
Yeah,
shows are worse for that. And then recently I saw, and you were discussing was your trail line of glasses. And then I mean, I run, so I'm not a runner, but I like to run
sure.
up here,
Yeah,
and I go every couple times a week, and I run in the forest.
yeah,
So I don't often won't wear glasses because I want to see. And
yeah.
then basically you said that you had a pair of glasses which are specific orange ones
Beautiful.
specifically made for that. And these
Yeah,
are the trail glasses. This is the trail hat.
yeah.
And I just recently got these, and I haven't done much. When I first touched them, they felt so light to me, and I found out after you that they're purposely made to be light, and the
Oh yeah,
special plastic and the way the rubber wraps around the backside.
it's
But
gorgeous.
most amazing is the clarity that I get from the lens, the
Yeah,
contrast you get from the lens. And they remind me of, which is kind of funny, if anybody is old enough to remember, it was blue blockers. It was this pair of
yeah,
glasses in the market years ago, but it was they're not as nice, but it was an orange tint, and
yep,
it tend to make things brighter.
yep,
But so these are, it's weird that they make it darker and brighter at the same time. So obviously it's just it's a shade with extra contrast, and
yep.
that
It's a
make yeah
contrast enhancing lens.
yeah.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
Re-
Again,
oh,
Japanese technology. We made it with some of the biggest ultra trail runners in the world. Dean Karnassus, if anyone's familiar with him, he's just a beast. The stuff he's done. If you don't know him, give him a look up. It's his Wikipedia page is freaky. The stuff this guy's done. He's crazy. So he helped us develop the lens with a couple other really incredible trail runners out there in the world. Ultra trail was specifically the niche we were going for. Right, these people run hundreds of miles in like a day or two. It's crazy. And then it speaks to the greater trail community. We thought if they're good enough for ultra trail runners, let's start there. And like you said, just a casual runner can rock them. I rock them around the streets here in Portland, Oregon. They're great as a bike, as a bike
that's what I
trail
was going to
runner.
say. But gardening also, like to me,
Yeah, gardening. Yeah,
it's the ultimate sunglasses.
it's
Like
beautiful.
I don't. It's like I run 5 kilometers in the trail. I'm not running any 100 kilometers, but
Sure.
and I really appreciated them for the way they stayed on my head. They don't bounce
Yep.
around because they're so
Yep.
light and what they made. But everything I've done outside, driving in them,
Yeah,
gardening in them,
it's great.
just general
Yeah.
wearing
Out.
them, and that light. And I'm used to. And one of the things I always used to like about these
Mm,
was the weight.
yeah.
You take them out of the box. I had the same pair forever with the sunglasses that
Sure.
I don't know, you don't make them anymore, which makes me a bit sad. But and I love them. Had them forever and ever. I've had these, like I said, 10 years about. There's not a scratch on them. They look
Mm,
like the day I got them, and
That's
so did
great.
my other ones. They
Yeah.
had on those glass lenses were so robust, but now I feel the opposite.
Yeah.
The
Right.
lightness of these lenses.
Yeah.
mm, and I realize that's a running with, I don't know, these ones or these ones or these ones. Again, I only wear your stuff, so I run with those ones,
Yeah.
and they would move. Anyway, these things just don't move on your head. So they're just, I cannot say enough about
Appreciate
yeah.
that you love them. Yeah, and if for those of
No,
you out there
really.
checking this out, you go to the Method 7 website, click the trail. the trail section, whether you'll find it in the upper nav or the lower footer, depending upon where you are on the site. And you could, it's the same trail 26 lens on all the different frames. So you find the frame that speaks to you, and you're gonna get that lens that Eric's definitely praising. So thank you. I couldn't agree more. It's a home run lens for running, for doing a lot of stuff, and
Okay.
it's just a matter of getting this message out to the masses that we have this beautiful trail running
Yeah. Well,
lens.
I'm gonna be writing up in the next edition my editor's pick, so I wanted to
Thank you.
tie it with this. Whereas again, it is regardless of what grow room or what sort of lights you have, there's a glasses for you. If
Yeah.
you're like the 99% of the people who wear sunglasses for the sun,
Right.
you have a whole variety of really nice, I say shaped lenses and lenses, shaped glasses and lenses
Yeah.
specifically made for outdoors. And then they have, if you really want to treat yourself and have a pair of glasses, like people used to do with Serengetis back in the day. I couldn't afford Serengetis when I was buying Ray-Bans, but I had my other friends who would spend, they were this, this style, or you had
Sure. Yep.
the aviator style Ray-Bans also, which were twice the price of regular Ray-Bans back in the day, or and on and on. That you guys have some very, beautiful products that'll make, again, if you want to look good with your glasses, you're going to look good with these glasses. So
Right.
one thing I wanted to do, Dave, is that I
Yeah.
had a pair of Method 7 coupes,
Yeah.
which have never been worn and only taken out of the thing here once for me to look at.
Nice.
So anyone who is still watching this, you have to email me at eric@gardenculturemagazine.com. Say something nice about me and Dave.
Hmm.
And someone who writes into me is going to win these pair of glasses. We'll ship them to your front door. So
Nice.
you got to listen to the whole podcast. We're not going to put this little clip out. So, we do little clips on socials. This won't be on the little clip. So whoever listens through 26 minutes
Nice. Love it.
will have a chance to win this pair right here. And,
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
again, I think as a company and as people, one thing we didn't talk about, which really doesn't matter at all, which is the watch story. But as
Yeah.
a company,
Yeah.
since I met their very first sales rep, who was Nicole West, who's gone on to some fame in California for what she's done in the cannabis market, and is one, I'd say, a trailblazing woman, and one of the toughest, coolest people I've met
Mm.
in this industry, who gave me my first pair of Method 7s.
Hell yeah.
And then meeting James and just really liking James's story. James had some success on a very weird way of it happening, that ex-girlfriend of his, her uncle, correct me if I'm wrong, was Paul Newman.
Father.
Oh, her father was Paul Newman.
Yep.
Oh,
Father.
even better. I should have read the article. We did a whole article of this, and
Yeah.
I think he did something like he fixed her tree fort, or saw his tree fort, or did some story about their cottage. And anyway,
Yep.
he endeared himself to Paul Newman, and Paul Newman decided to give him one of his old Rolexes. Here, James, have this watch. And it was
Yep.
a very famous watch he used in auto racing, and it turned out to be the most expensive used watch ever sold in the history of watches.
Correct. Yep. Correct. Yep.
And James has been both enjoying himself, but also using that money to do some pretty cool things. I know in Iceland and around the world, and he's,
Yeah.
practicing philanthropist, which
Exactly. Yep.
and yeah, and I think I also thought that was pretty cool. And then again, there's you. So, and I honestly, Dave, you're a friend of mine. I can't say enough about you. I find you are an amazing
Thank you.
representative of the company, and have told the story, and I think probably at the end of the day saved um, countless people's eyes from slow torture,
Yep.
and that's really what it is. Like some people say, addiction and drug addiction, cigarette addiction, a lot of addiction to slow suicide.
Sure.
And the truth is, you're making a choice. And if you're going in the grow room where the lights are bright and they're probably not great for your eyes, and you don't do anything about it day after day after day, if you work in this environment, which is kind of one of the last points I wanted to bring up,
Mm.
you are slowly torturing yourself.
Yeah.
And when you get to be 65 or 70 or 80, and now your eyes are permanently damaged from what you did when you're 20, 30, and 40, I mean, I say there's no going back. There probably is some operations for you, but it's not. Yeah,
No,
no,
it's not anything you want to go through. Now,
no.
when now
It's
with your
it
eyes.
is so preventable. the fact that you can look good and prevent these things at the same time seems an absolute no-brainer. So, to a question, oh, I got a meeting in 10 minutes. It
Gotcha.
led me to a question that I thought was really important, which is in commercial facilities,
Mm.
if this is not already legislated as protective equipment necessary to where why isn't it, or is it some places and isn't it other places?
Well, great question. So one thing that is coming up, and it kind of started in Europe, but it's also very, much a thing in North America, is they're now requiring stickers on all these fixtures
Yeah.
that will delineate risk group 1, risk group 2, or risk group 3. And essentially what that is it's not only discussing like the high levels of UV output, but it's also talking about blue light toxicity and what that may do. Because obviously there's tons of blue light in these fixtures, right? So risk group 1 is like, hey, you need to wear eye protect. If the thing even has a risk group 1 sticker, you need to wear eye protection. This could cause, short, long-term damage. We don't need to go into all the various things that could happen, but we talked about cataracts. People are losing night vision. Like there's a lot of things that can happen. Um, so on. Yeah.
Which products fall into that category, the common products that
So
we
so most full spectrum LED lights fall into risk group 2, okay?
okay.
So risk group 2 is you definitely need to wear eye protection when you're under this lighting device, right? That is, wear it, otherwise you're risking, having some sort of problem down the line, right? So most fall into risk group 2. Now risk group 3, that's the one that's just insane. It's you can't even physically be under the light even with eye protection.
Like
Okay.
my DLI UV light that I have.
Yep. There's a Dutch lightings. Yep. There's a Dutch lighting UV light. I physically held the light. I've seen risk group 3 stickers.
Yeah, me too. I have one in my grow room.
Yeah,
It
you
turns
have
out
one. So
from 4 to 8 PM. I don't go in my grow room from 4 to 8 PM.
there you go. So you have a risk group 3. So
Yeah.
it's serious. These stickers coming out, these warnings. I mean, it's the studies, everything. It's starting to trend. Okay, we got to protect our eyes under these things. It's no different than if you worked at a construction site. You showed up every day, and the person next to you's jackhammering. And you didn't wear ear protection. Is your head gonna explode? No. Are you gonna go home with your ears ringing and probably lose your hearing in a few years? Yes. So it's not the same deal here. Your head's not gonna explode if you don't wear eye protection, but chances are something's gonna happen to your eyes after a few
It
years,
it's
you
a
know?
slow, long-term degradation of parts of
100%.
the eye is
Yeah.
not it's just again, it's for nothing, right? It's a borderline laziness,
Yeah.
issue and or investment. So again, it's
Right.
not a huge investment for, some of these commercial facilities that cost hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to build, to spend a couple of $100 and have, glasses on the
On the staff, and it's a morale thing, right? The
that's
grows that I've been in that, like, religiously use Method 7, I mean, no BS, they tend to grow better plants. The quality of the weed, you're like, "Okay, yeah, these guys grow quality weed." They're all wearing Method 7, they're all happy doing their job because they got the nice glasses, they can see what they're doing, and there's a good vibe in there, and big surprise, they're growing better weed. You go into other facilities where maybe the head growers wearing them, or maybe nobody's wearing them, or there's a few pairs in the corner or whatever, and you're like, your weed sucks. And I'm not
well,
saying that's the only
I hope
factor,
not.
but that is a subtle factor that very much does play a role in it, and especially
Yeah,
again talking employee morale, if nothing else, knowing,
it's a
hey, my
yeah.
boss gives a shit about me, they bought me something so I don't go blind. Yeah, I mean that's just a nice way to kick things off.
I would agree 100% that corporate culture influences quality output, and that would probably go for
Yeah.
even something as dentistry. If you go to a dentist's office and everyone's happy, I'm sure they're gonna do a better job on your teeth than you go to a dental office where everyone's miserable, or a
100%.
doctor, or construction, or anything
You
that
could basically
requires giving
apply
that.
that to anything, and you'll see that across the board, and it's these subtleties that do matter. I mean, you're right, exactly. So it's
Yeah.
it's
Well,
it's we love seeing it, obviously, we love supporting, and, we're just very thankful for all the farms out there. We're bringing on new farms every day, and, we try to really work with you, whether it's an international or distributor or, working with us, you name it, like, we're looking out. you know?
And you have distributors all over the world. You guys are available really
Mhm.
everywhere. I'm off to South
Yep.
Africa in a couple weeks, and I know you have a
Nice.
distributor down there in South
Yep.
Africa. You
Yep.
started advertising there.
Yep.
Um, yeah, listen, I just wanted to again, I want to take the chance to say thank you for coming on. You know,
Yep.
Dave, I've been
Yep.
a fan for so long.
Appreciate that.
Um,
You're welcome.
I appreciate just having the opportunity to tell people, you know, about these glasses and how much I do love them and how you know when my in-laws come over and see them stacked by the front door, they're jealous and they want some and I
Nice.
don't I only share
Method7.com.
maybe my sister, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my mother, you know, but apart from them 4, you gotta be pretty damn special to
Yeah,
but
to get crazy. Yeah.
so again, people can find out more at method7.com. We'll list it here, you know, somewhere. And if you own a commercial facility anywhere, I highly suggest looking into getting high-end glasses for your high-end facility. Treat your employees well; they'll treat you well. And
Yeah,
and
and just to piggyback on that, we have cost-effective safety style frames. We understand that not everybody's getting, the baller ones. So we have our price range now ranges from, low right through high. And, we're conscious of the cost-effective, more safety style, but still we never sacrifice lens quality. So the only reason a price goes down is because of the frame is a bit more cost-effective. We pass that on to the consumer, but we never sacrifice lens quality. We're a lens company first. You're going to get that same high quality lens in any of our frames. So,
all right, so remember,
yeah.
everybody, the trails on their website.
Yep.
This
Yep.
is the this is the best gift you can give to anyone who bikes or runs. Or I mean, I'm looking forward to them for spring skiing. I'm sure they're going to be amazing for you know
Yeah.
just for seeing the moguls and whatnot. So
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're light; they won't bounce around. So, uh, from a Method 7 true believer,
Thank you.
thank you, Dave, so
Yep.
much for coming on today.
You're welcome.
And look for Method 7 in Garden Culture Magazine. Look for Method 7 online, or maybe in your grow room soon.
Yeah. And thank you, Eric. Thank you, Garden Culture. All over the world. We're honored to be there with you. So, yeah, keep doing what you're doing.